All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Special guest in studio, Mellissa Ferris from Girl Chat Sports, doing a wonderful job filling in for J.D. Sharp, who will be back on Monday. Melissa, very glad you're here.
Thank you.
We have so much to talk about today. The big sports story the last several days, besides the Lakers, we'll get to that in a second, is, of course, the Masters, right? It is the biggest golf tournament of the year. We had Dennis Silvers, the golf guru, in studio Wednesday, picking his winners. And when I heard that Tiger Woods showed up to Augusta National more than a week before the tournament, I said to myself, that means he's serious, and his game must be in really good form. And today, he probably made almost every putt inside of 20 feet. He was putting probably the best putting he's had in a very, very long time. And I know he won a tournament a few months ago, but it was incredible to watch him play. He wasn't driving the ball very well, but if you're wondering who's atop the leaderboard, Francisco Molinari tied for the lead with a few other big names. Brooks Koepka, of course, two-time major winner. Jason Day, former #1 player in the world, is tied for the lead. Former UNLV player Adam Scott, who hasn't really been in contention in a major in a little while. Of course, he's a former Masters winner. He's tied for the lead as well.
How many are tied for the lead?
I believe 5.
Three-way?
Five tied for the lead.
Wow.
Five tied for the lead. Dustin Johnson, DJ. I don't know his wife very well, but I have hung out with her a few times. She is the daughter of Wayne Gretzky. Her name is Paulina Gretzky, and she is super hot. I just want to throw that in there, too.
Super hot.
Very beautiful. But Dustin Johnson's one off the lead. You want to talk about an unbelievable leaderboard. Tiger Woods, one shot off the lead. So he is right there. He played really well. But there was a really interesting moment today on the golf course that I have never seen before in my life. Okay? So Tiger's on the tee box. I don't remember what hole it was. It was on the back nine, maybe 15 or 16. He hits a tee shot awry. He turns it over. He hooks it to the left. It's in the trees. So obviously, if you hit a tee shot that's not in the middle of the fairway, you're going to be very, very close to the crowd, right? Golf is a very intimate game. The golfers and the fans are very, very close. So he hits this shot way off the fairway into the rough where all the trees are, normally where the fans are standing, right? Sure. So these fans are watching him hit a shot, and some of these people might be a few feet away from him. It's nuts. It's crazy, right? It's nuts. It's very, golf's intimate game with the fans, right? So it's a crazy situation, and I wanted to play the audio, but before I play the audio, I want to kind of describe what happened. He hits a shot, and then there's like 5 or 6 security guards around the fans trying to hold the fans back, right? Because they don't want him to get, touch Tiger or whatever the case may be. One of the security guards slips and falls into Tiger's foot, and Tiger twists his ankle. Now, luckily, his foot was up. It wasn't completely down. It could have been really serious. I've never seen anything like this. And Tiger starts limping after this. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God, this is great, because I bet against Tiger Woods. I bet against, in a matchup, I bet Ricky Fowler versus Tiger Woods. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that right now. Ricky's like 4 or 5 shots behind. But it's a crazy situation. I want to play this audio for you. I've been watching golf for 30 years on TV. I've never seen anything like this before. I just want you to hear it. So this is Tiger Woods hitting a shot in the trees, and then all the fans close to him, and then the announcers. Let's play this audio.
What a shot, but something happened to Tiger when he was coming out of there.
Watch this slip. Here he comes.
Oh, he was lucky. The heel was in the air.
Very lucky. Woods for birdie.
Okay. All right. So there you go. That's what happened. And by the way, here's the amazing part about that situation. Okay. He's in the trees. He sticks it 10 feet from the hole, and he makes a birdie anyway.
Wow.
So he was limping a little bit after that. You have to watch the video of it. It's crazy.
Definitely need to.
This security guard just comes out of nowhere and loses his footing. Obviously, it was an accident, but that could have been. Can you imagine if it was serious where Tiger couldn't play on? And he's like one shot off the lead. That guy would be like the dude at the Cubs game who, what's his name? Bartman.
Yeah.
This guy would be the Bartman of the PGA Tour.
Jeez.
You're talking about the Masters and Tiger Woods one shot off the lead. Imagine if Tiger couldn't continue. This guy would never be able to show his face at a golf tournament ever again for the rest of his life.
I'm more fascinated with the quote unquote audio of the Masters, because we all know the Masters is like super quiet. Like you can't even breathe.
Hi, I'm Jim Nance, and this is the Masters.
So it's like there's audio that you can actually hear things going on there, because
you see how loud it was, though. I mean, he's like a few feet away from these fans.
That was loud, but most of their time you can't even breathe without people telling you shh.
Yeah, well, golf is a different game. I talk about that with people all the time. People are like, why isn't it baseball? Why can't you scream on a backswing? I'm going to defend the golfers when it comes to this. you shouldn't, as a fan, you shouldn't be allowed to talk, or you have to stay still. Golf is a different game than baseball. I understand you're getting 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, but the fans are further away from where you're hitting the ball. Golf is just a different game. So I think after you strike the ball, it's fair game. Fans, besides swearing or threatening or saying idiot, if you want to yell out mashed potatoes or baba booey, and if you want to, I'll give you a perfect example of these golfers that some of these golfers I can't stand. Justin Thomas, who I can't stand. Okay, he's a great player, but I just think he's an idiot. He's a prick. Can I say that on the air? Here's why. He hits a shot a couple years ago, and it was a huge controversy. And after he hit the shot, somebody in the crowd goes, "Go in the bunker." So obviously this guy's rooting against him.
Sure.
Justin Thomas turns around, and he has this guy escorted off the golf course. I'm thinking, you piece of garbage. You're making millions of dollars a year. People have the right to root against you, especially in this day and age where gambling is huge. Golf and gambling go together, man, not just when you're playing golf. But gambling is huge. They have in-game wagering on the Masters now. What does that mean? It means not only can you bet before a player goes out every day, and they adjust the odds of who's going to win, but during Sunday afternoon, they have in-game wagering in most sports books in Vegas and throughout the country where they adjust the win odds based on every shot that is played. So if Tiger Woods makes a couple birdies in a row and he's 2 shots ahead, he'll be maybe minus 300 or something. But right now, I think he's like 10-1 because he's 1 shot off the lead.
I think it was 7-1.
Is that what he is? Yeah. But they have that now. So gambling's a big part of it. People are going to root against other players on the golf course, and some of these snobby golfers are going to have to get used to that. It's not all nice where you're just going to hear the golf clap every single time, and people are going to be quiet after you hit a shot. People are going to be rooting against you. Justin Thomas is an easy guy to root against. I root against him all the time. But
you could root against a lot of people, I'm sure.
I root for Donald Trump. I just think he's a wonderful person and a great guy. So yeah, I root for him all the time.
April Fools.
Yeah. I root for him. I might root for him in 2020 though, because he gives me material to talk about every day. That's for sure. But anyway, that's the Masters. It's going to be a fun weekend. You have some of the best players in the world that are up there on the leaderboard, like a guy like a Brooks Koepka who hits the ball about 800 yards.
Wow.
You've got Dustin Johnson, who's another guy. You have half the guys on the leaderboard are top 10 players in the world. You can't ask for anything better on Augusta National on a Sunday afternoon if Tiger Woods is in contention. If he wins the Masters, in my personal opinion, it will be the biggest story in sports this year. And the reason why I say that is when you look at everything that Tiger has gone through, all the injuries, all the mental stuff. He had his ex-wife, chasing him with a 7-iron, all that stuff, okay? And mental and physical. But for him,
he hasn't been the epitome of a great man either, though, let's say, with regards to relationships.
He's a horrible person. Anything short of a murderer, he is just a horrible person. Tiger's a bad guy, okay? He's extremely selfish. What he did to his wife and the way he treated that whole circumstance. And I've seen the way he is, and I actually lived with someone that dated him for a year, and I heard stories that you just would not believe about Tiger Woods. He flew her out in coach. He never paid for a meal. He would play thousands of dollars a hand blackjack, and when somebody came over and got him a specific wine or a cigar that actually had to leave the casino to buy, wouldn't tip. Just the worst tipper. Him and Michael Jordan are the worst.
There are a lot of athletes that are like that.
Yeah, Jordan and Tiger are probably 2 of the worst tippers on the planet. I would also put Pete Sampras in there. Andre Agassi once told me when I interviewed him that when Pete Sampras would pull up to a valet, all the valet people would go and hide.
Lord.
Yeah, that's how bad Pete Sampras was. But we're talking a little bit about the Masters. Tiger Woods getting tripped by a security guard and limping. And I know a lot of people who had future bets on Tiger Woods where their heart was beating pretty fast there.
Wow.
Yeah, that usually doesn't happen. I've never seen that on the golf course before.
That was interesting.
That was insane. But we'll take a few calls on that and the Masters at 257-5396. Again, the number to call, 257-5396. And I did criticize many of the people at Augusta National for not allowing African Americans or women to play there until very recent. And I thought that, I just think the people that run Augusta, a lot of racists that have been members there that have been putting the rules together. I haven't agreed with it, but with that being said, Augusta National is probably the most beautiful golf course on the planet, and I hope one day I can play there. I'm a white guy, so maybe that gives me a better
chance than me.
It does. Trust me, though. Well, trust me, they don't get more white than me. I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. My vitamin D is very low. But anyway, talking a little Masters, we'll get to the LA Lakers. We'll take a few phone calls on this at 257-5396. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, thank you for calling in. How are you?
So, this Masters thing, it's a pretty high-profile tournament. And I don't think it's probably proper etiquette to go there and root against somebody. I think you should go there and root for people instead of against them. That's kind of like it. You know, they're playing for a very prestigious trophy, and it's kind of petty to go there.
So do you think that about every single? Okay, so let's have a conversation on this. Do you think that about every sport? Major League Baseball, the NBA, college basketball. How is this any different? It is a sport, and I never said that you should affect the way they play as far as screaming on a backswing. But after a shot is taken, what is wrong with saying go in the bunker? I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. Fans pay good, hard-earned money. Don't they have a right to do that, Jimmy?
Well, I think that golf is a little different than football and baseball. It's like a little more. It takes a lot of concentration and is very technical.
So why should I have to root for somebody like Justin Thomas, who I think is a jerk? Why should I have to root for somebody that I don't like? Why should I have to hope that they play well? Isn't that what makes sports great?
You don't have.
Well, he's telling you not. You don't have to root for them.
Etiquette.
So you think it's horrendous etiquette after somebody hits a shot to say go in the bunker? You think that's just horrible etiquette for a fan to say something like that?
I think you're trying to get into the guy's head. You know, the guy's. You know, it takes a lot of concentration.
But that's after the shot, though. If it was before the shot, I would agree with you. We're talking after the shot.
It's a long way to go to be a hater.
There's a lot of haters
all right. Well,
out
I mean,
there.
I'm just gonna. So do you think even though Tiger Woods? The only reason why I've ever rooted for Tiger is I think he's good for golf, right? He's good for the game. But I don't root for Tiger Woods to make a lot of money. I don't root for Tiger Woods and great fortune to happen to Tiger Woods. The only reason why I've ever rooted for Tiger is because it's good for golf. I don't personally want great things to happen to Tiger Woods. I think he's a bad guy. Does that make me a bad etiquette person to do that?
No, but I mean, it's like.
Are you going to say something about him hitting in the bunker, though?
You sound like a little whiner.
I'm a little whiner.
Ooh.
So hold on, let me get this straight. You call into a radio show. No, hold on. I'm glad he brought that up. So you call into a radio show and you call me a whiner because I say go in the bunker if I say something like that after a shot, which, by the way, I've never said. So I'm a whiner, but you're saying if I pay money to go watch a professional golf tournament and after somebody hits a shot, I say go in the bunker or go in the water, you can't do that. That's way out of bounds, but you could call me a name on the radio and call me a whiner. Am I getting that right, Jimmy? Am I correct?
Well, you call people names every night you're on.
Well, so, fine. I have bad etiquette, but I guess you still listen to me, though, don't you, Jimmy?
Once in a while.
Okay, well, I guess you like. So I think
every once in a while.
I think you're a closet. Here's what I think, Jimmy, and you tell me if you disagree. I think you're a closet.
Calling me names.
Have I called you a name?
You're getting ready to.
So now you're assuming.
Got a crystal ball.
You know what they say about assuming, Jimmy? It makes an ass out of you and me.
Closet what? I'm a closet what?
Don't assume because we know the saying on that. I think you're a closet person that likes people with bad etiquette. Otherwise, you wouldn't listen to my show. That's what I think.
So
it's entertaining.
You're admitting that's all you come on here is to be negative and
no, I tell
in our world.
No, I tell it like it is. And when I think somebody's a moron or an idiot, I call them that on the air. Would you rather have someone do a radio show and just says everything that you like but doesn't tell it like it is? Then listen to their shows. There's plenty of other radio shows in Vegas of people that are phony that do that. Do you want me to name people? I think I have in the past. There are people that do shows in this town because they have financial relationships with people. They'll never critique anybody. I'll bring up UNLV basketball. There are radio stations in this town. There are certain hosts in this town that will never say anything negative about UNLV. They will kiss their ass because they have a financial relationship with them. Are those the type of people that you want to listen to?
Not necessarily, but all you do is complain.
All right, well, you know what, Jimmy? You're a fantastic caller. You're the best call I've ever had in my life. You are a fantastic human being, and I'm so glad you have wonderful etiquette. Thank you for calling in, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I appreciate it.
Smoke signals. Throwing smoke signals.
It's not about being negative. It's about a different opinion.
Right.
We have a different opinion.
But here's the deal. I will admit, too, that golf, and I'm not a huge golf fan, but throughout my whole, years of sports and loving sports, golf has always been that one sport that you're kind of like, oh, it's a little bit different. It is a little bit different. You know what I mean? You grew up watching all these golf, tournaments and seeing how everybody's quiet and there's good etiquette usually there. Yeah, it is a little different.
Look, when I'm on the golf course, I show good etiquette towards golf. And when I play golf, people are like, wow, you're just a different person on the golf course. I replaced my divots. I'm very complimentary of
You're
people.
not yelling across the greens.
No.
You know, you're not cussing at people. You're not telling them what to do.
Right.
I mean, it's a different kind of sport.
And I
you're
totally
not going to see the
understand
Russell Westbrook Utah Jazz fan
Exactly.
situation happening at Augusta.
And never, Mellissa, have I ever said that you should scream or yell or try to affect somebody's shot or throw a laser pointer in their eye on their backswing. That would be completely over the line ridiculous. What I'm trying to say is that after somebody hits a shot, you shouldn't be allowed to swear at them. You shouldn't be allowed to, mention a member of their family or there are lines you don't cross. But if you say something like, get in the bunker or get in the water, you have a right to root against someone. That's what makes sports great, okay? That's what makes it great.
That line that we're talking about, there's so many people that aren't going to know where that line is, and they're going to cross it. And they're going to continue to cross it, and that's the problem, is that people are going to don't know when to say when.
And if they cross the line, they should be kicked out. But I'll give you an example of how I can't stand, the people that run Augusta National, not just because they haven't allowed African Americans and women for so many years, but they handed out some papers to people last year. Words not to say after somebody hits a shot. And we're not talking about swear words. We're saying mashed potatoes and gravy, baba booey. People scream stuff like that out. I actually think it's kind of funny. And I also think that it brings more fans to the game because people can laugh and joke around about it. Who cares? If I'm a player and I'm trying to focus and concentrate, all I care about is nobody says anything before I strike the golf ball. As soon as I strike the golf ball, you should have laser focus. You're thinking about your next shot. Who cares if somebody says mashed potatoes and gravy? I mean, that would make me hungry. That's
I'm just super petty, so I'd be saying it in a different language. I'd be saying it in a different language where everybody's like, wait, what? And then they wouldn't know.
How do you say mashed potatoes and gravy in a different language?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, I was just curious. That's all.
I don't even. I speak a little Spanish. That's about all I know. So I don't even know that.
So Baba Booey is Baba Booey, right? It's just a name, right?
It's not really a name.
Okay. Yeah, Baba Booey is Gary Del Abate from the Howard Stern show. People seem to scream that out, and then Howard Stern plays it on his show, and I think it's hilarious. They do a Baba Booey highlight. Hey, look at all the people that scream Baba Booey after Tiger Woods hit shot. I just find that to be funny. That's all. But there are a lot of people I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a good percentage of people on the PGA Tour that are a little bit snobby. Mm-hmm. They just think everybody should root for them, and that's the way it is.
And you don't have to, but just no malicious intent.
No, exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah.
So we'll get to UNLV basketball in a little bit, but I want to talk a little LA Lakers with you first. And if you're just joining us, we are joined by Mellissa Ferris from Girl Chat Sports. So the Lakers announced today that they were parting ways with Luke Walton. We kind of figured that this was going to happen.
No crystal ball needed.
Yeah,
yes.
we kind of figured this would happen, but when Magic Johnson stepped down,
I was unsure,
I said to myself, wow, maybe there's a chance that Luke stays. My first question to you is, what was your first reaction when Magic decided to step down, and what are your thoughts on Luke Walton?
Well, when Magic decided to step down, I feel like that was a good choice for him. I mean, we all were, I think, surprised and shocked by that. We didn't see that one coming. We all kind of figured, Luke's gone, but we didn't know that Magic would still be stepping down. However, there's definitely some issues within the Lakers organization, and maybe it's something that he can't handle or he can't deal with. And I don't think Magic was ever a GM. He's great for PR. He's great for promotion. He's great to help get people into the organization. But can he be a general manager? Can he fill those hats? Can he do all those job requirements that are required of him as a GM? I don't think so. Probably
not. I was just a little surprised that he didn't tell Jeannie Buss first, and he decided to go to the media. I thought that was very disrespectful, and I think it goes to show you the dysfunction around the Lakers organization right now.
Right.
People are just not communicating, and I think it shows on the basketball court because the players and the coaching staff weren't communicating.
But I don't mean to cut you off, but I will say this is that the one thing that I did appreciate in him being with the media is that he did state that, if I would have went to Jeannie first, because of their long tenure, their long history of him being with the Lakers organization for so long and the family so long, she could have probably said a few things that may had him want to stay another year. Oh, don't do it, Magic. Like maybe just one more. You never know. We don't know. So I get his point in that maybe he didn't want to tell her first because she could have tried to get him back in or convince him otherwise.
I think that, and you might be right on that one. I don't know. I still think it would.
We don't know.
I still think, though, it would have been the right thing to talk to her first, regardless of that. But I think with Magic, he has so many other business ventures. He has so many other things going on in his life. The fact that the Lakers were struggling, if the Lakers were a playoff team and they got, I think if they were better, he would have stayed. I think he was pressing. He talks a lot about, too, out in L.A., everyone asking him about the team. What's going on, Magic? What's going on with the team? Why are they struggling? I think he just got sick and tired of that. I don't think he was able to put the time and energy that was needed for that position.
Definitely
I thought that was another part of it. And I don't know. Dealing with LeBron is tough. He's gotten a lot of people fired. And I'm not saying that was the ultimate reason here. LeBron's got a lot of people fired. I'm going to tell you something right now. If they hire Tyronn Lue as the next coach, that is a joke. That is a joke.
It's so funny. My co-host Mo, shout out to Mo real quick. She said if Tyronn Lue becomes the coach, she's no longer a Laker fan. And for her, this is huge. Like, I've always been a Laker hater my whole life. She has been a Laker nation since birth. So for her to say that was huge. You know, I'll
give you a few names out there.
Yes.
What about Jeff Van Gundy? I love Jeff Van Gundy. He did such a great job in New York.
I didn't like the Knicks, but I love Jeff Van Gundy.
So Jeff Van Gundy came on our show a few months ago. And I talked to him about how difficult it is to coach guys like LeBron James. And I remember when his brother, who I respect very much, Stan Van Gundy, got fired. I believe it was the Magic, and Dwight Howard was a huge part of that. So I asked Jeff Van Gundy about that, and he said, look, back in the day when I used to coach Patrick Ewing never respected me. But you know what he did? He respected the coaching decision, and that's all I ask.
That's what you need.
You don't have to respect me, respect the position. There's no doubt in my mind that LeBron James does not respect many of the coaches, and he doesn't respect the decision. He thinks he's the head coach. I don't care how good of a player he is. And by the way, I never thought LeBron was a top 5 player. I probably never will. But with that being said, you have to respect the coach's position. This should not be about LeBron James. They should hire the best possible coach available. You know?
Well, here's the deal. That's what the Lakers bought into. When they knew that LeBron was coming to their organization, they knew what was coming with it. It was LeBron controlled the Cleveland Cavaliers. So when he's coming to LA, you kind of figure, well, he's probably going to have a little more of his foot in it than most other players would want to have. But he also has other things. He's following a path that maybe Magic is taking. He's getting involved with movies and his production company and all those other things. So it's not just for him and the basketball career. It's the life after basketball.
But I agree with you. I agree with your co-host. If they hire Tyronn Lue, look, I think Tyronn Lue's a good dude. I remember last summer.
Great player.
Yeah. Great player, good dude. Yeah. Nothing personal. I remember I was officiating an AAU team where his son was out there playing, very young, like 12, 13 years old. I was talking to him for a few minutes. He could not have been nicer. Really good dude. And obviously, he and LeBron have a friendship, have a relationship. There's no question about that. But just because you're friends with somebody, it shouldn't be the Lakers' outright decision to hire him. I think there are better coaches out there. I think Jeff Van Gundy would be a perfect fit. He's used to the limelight. I believe he wants to coach again. He said he does. He coached in New York. If you
can coach in New York, you can coach in LA.
Exactly. That's my point. So
huge markets.
To me, that would be number one. You know, I've heard Juwan Howard, and I don't think Juwan would be a good hire at all. I think that would be a joke. But again, Juwan has a very good relationship with LeBron James. I would not be surprised if they hired Tyronn Lue or Juwan Howard. We all know why LeBron came to LA, and I don't think it was to win championships. I mean, in a perfect world, he'd love to.
He would like to bring a championship there, but it wasn't specific.
But for him, I think it was for his movie career, Space Jam, and all that other stuff. I believe that he went to LA for La La Land, Hollywood, and it's just not working out as well as he would have thought it would have.
Right.
I don't like it when he disrespects the coaching position. And when you're not in the huddle and you will only talk to Brian Shaw, I think you are not only disrespecting Luke, but you're disrespecting the head coaching position. I thought Blatt, a pretty good coach. And we all know why Blatt was gone. And I heard stories about how Blatt would struggle in the huddle. He wasn't the greatest communicator in the huddle. And that might be true. I don't know. But we all know why he was fired. He was fired because of LeBron James. And I am not in favor. I don't care how. We would have never seen that in the 80s. That's what gets me so upset. You know.
But the 80s were a whole different basketball game back then.
I mean, do you think Larry Bird, constantly listened to his coaches? I mean, we're not talking about Red Auerbach. I'm talking about other guys that coach, like a Chris Ford, for example. Chris Ford was a good coach, but do you think Larry Bird, had the utmost respect for a guy like a Chris Ford? No, probably not. Chris Ford was a mediocre NBA player, and he took over the Celtics. But you know what? They won NBA championships because Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Danny Ainge, all those guys, they respected the coaching position. They always did.
But this brings me back to the point that I mentioned off air this is what happens when you give kids participation trophies.
Mm-hmm.
This starts from a young age. Oh, well, you deserve this because you've done this. So it gets these guys that are excelling in the sport, no matter what. They feel like they're owed this. This is what I'm doing. I brought this to you. I'm the best player here. I should get this. This is me. Mm-hmm. No, you don't.
Yeah. I mean, you
can have your opinions and you can play great and you can be a great player and you can discuss that with the coach. But ultimately, it's the coach. It's your head coach.
And I've changed my opinion a little bit on LeBron over the years. I think he's matured a little bit. I think he's a better guy now than he was, when he first got in the league. He was younger. I thought the whole special when he left Cleveland and did a whole TV special, I'm taking my talents to Miami. I thought it showed a lot about his character back then. I thought that was insane.
He's grown.
Yeah, and I went to I went to a USA basketball practice when they were practicing at Valley High School. This is when Kobe Bryant was on the team. So they're scrimmaging, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, certainly in Las Vegas, watching those guys scrimmage against each other in a high school gym in front of 30 people. But they brought these kids, these underprivileged kids from North Vegas, I think from a YMCA. They brought them in there. And I'll always remember this. There were about maybe 15 kids tops. They sat there quietly watching their heroes play basketball for 2.5 hours. They didn't say a word, okay? So after the practice, the communications director for USA Basketball came over to some of the players. He comes up to Kobe. Hey, Kobe, we got these kids, underprivileged kids. Can you maybe quick picture autograph? Absolutely, Kobe said. Absolutely. He goes over to those kids. He's talking to them. He's signing autographs. He's taking them. I'm like, wow, what a good dude, to do that. Dwayne Wade, same guy. He went over there signing autographs. There wasn't one player that didn't do that. And Kobe was probably, he hung out with those kids the longest. I was so impressed by that. LeBron James didn't have anywhere to go. They're all getting on a bus. They're all getting on a bus to go back to the hotel. LeBron walked past each and every one of them. He didn't take a picture, didn't sign, nothing. And again, this was years ago. I'm not saying LeBron would do that now. But when I saw that, it made me not want to root for the guy.
Well, I'll tell you this much, and this is and I've shared this on the podcast before with the listeners. There is that I appreciate LeBron as an athletic talent, as his ability, as the person whom he is off court. I don't always agree with some of the things that happen on court, but off court, this man has, like today we have the news that I Promise School has extraordinary results. This man has built a school for the people from where he came from.
Incredible.
To go to school, to have these abilities, to get the education that some of them will never get, and are getting now extraordinary results.
It's a good point. And that's why I brought that up, because that was years ago, and I didn't root for LeBron. But I'm going to tell you something. Ever since he opened up that school, I feel differently about him now. I still think he's the biggest crybaby on the court.
Yes.
I still think that
beside
he's
Karl Malone.
Yeah, I still don't think there's any chance he's a top 5 player. I put Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant. I put those guys ahead of him because I never thought he was a killer, especially the first 10 years in the league. I never thought he was comfortable enough with the basketball with 10 seconds left to go in a game. So I'm consistent on that. I don't think he plays D as hard as they did, even 10 years ago. It just doesn't. But
definitely not this year.
But with that being said, what he did with this school, to me, is his best accomplishment in his life. He is changing lives, and you can see how much he cares, and I give him all the credit in the world. And that's why from here on out, even though I like to root for other guys, I hope that it works out for him in L.A. This isn't about how much money he has or any of that. He seems like a good father and a good husband, and those are really...
And let's be honest, there's not too many athletes in the NBA that can say that they've been with their wife since high school, okay? Even my beloved Russell Wilson, from a Seahawks fan, he got divorced from his wife, the first one, and got married to Sia. So it's like to be married to somebody for that long, to not have any scandals in the news, to not have some kind of crazy betting issue or some kind of gambling problem or some kind of drinking or DUIs, that's amazing for this sport.
It really is. And even though, I have that story that took place, 8 years ago, I do feel differently about LeBron James now, and I give him kudos. And like I said, I hope it works out in L.A. I just hope he stays out of this process about the next coach. I hope they make the right decision. Let Jeannie Buss, let those people work, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. Okay. We'll take your calls at 257-5396. Again, 702-257-5396 if you want to be a part of the program. We've been talking a little bit about the Masters, Tiger Woods getting tripped on a hole. That was just bizarre. We're talking about the Lakers. Busy sports day as well. Luke Walton has been let go from the Lakers. Who do you guys think will be the next coach? We're also going to talk a little UNLV hoops, a little UNLV football coming up. And I also want to get Melissa's take on the Knights, and series against the San Jose Sharks. Game 2 tonight. The puck just dropped. Is it a must-win for the Knights? And, of course, they play at home on Sunday. I will be there for that one. We'll take a quick break. Give us a call, 257-5396. Again, the number to call, 257-5396. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is The Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. I guess today is sort of Ferris and Shapiro, I guess you call it. Yeah, J.D. Sharp will be back on Monday, my partner in crime, my co-host. But Mellissa Ferris joining us from Girl Chat Sports. She has a podcast 6 to 7 p.m. on Wednesday. She does a fantastic job, and we appreciate that you're... What is it like, by the way, doing this? I haven't really talked to you a lot about it. Tell me why you decided to do this podcast to begin with?
Well, as a woman who loves sports, and just to clarify, it's not just women that love women's sports. We love all sports mainly. So I'm a football fan, baseball, basketball, same with Mo. We started a few years ago, but Mo's my current host. We've had a couple hosts kind of, you know how that goes in media or in broadcasting. You have hosts that come and go. It was mainly to help cater to women that love sports, women that want to talk about sports, maybe women that don't know much but want to be able to talk about it to their significant other, to their boyfriend, to whomever, at the water cooler at work, you know, what have you, when it comes to big games. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people feel comfortable about talking about
That's
sports.
awesome.
Because a lot of men, and this is how it is, and I see it every day when I go on media things, men look at you like, why are you here? What are you doing?
I was going to ask you that. And by the way, I just wanted to read your motto for your show because I find it says, we don't have balls, but we know how to cover them. I think that's really funny. I was going to ask you about that. Do you find that there's a lot of male chauvinistic pigs out there? Because look, you're obviously extremely knowledgeable when it comes to sports.
But I don't know it all, and I admit that I'm not a fact checker. I'm not a statistician. That's our biggest thing.
But you're very well spoken.
Sure.
And by the way, I'm not one of those people either. You're very well spoken, and you're knowledgeable. You're synced into the local, Vegas sports scene, and we're going to get more into that now.
Sure.
But yeah, do you find that there's a lot of chauvinist people out there?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I won't say so much here. I mean, there are things here that happen, but I know I covered the Senior Bowl a couple years ago when Carson Wentz was there, and there was a table. You know how they always have your name and where you're from, and there was a table with my name and Girl Chat Sports on it, and there was an older Caucasian man that was just sitting there. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, this is where I'm sitting." "Oh, no, you're not." "Well, yeah, I am. That's my name." Here's the deal. I'm not some little short, small. That
No,
they
you're
ain't short and small people.
You would definitely kick my ass.
I mean, yes. I'm boisterous. I will get my opinion very well, and so I let him know. "No, sir, that's my name. That's my."
Where was this at?
At the Senior Bowl.
At the Senior Bowl.
Yes.
Wow. And so you're sitting in a seat with your name. You're credentialed.
Yes, credentialed.
And
I'm in the media booth.
And you're saying somebody in the media went up to you and said,
he was sitting in my seat.
And he's in the media, but he wasn't sitting.
He was like, "No, I got it." "No, you're not. You can move where." I don't know where you're. Maybe my seat was a prime location. I don't know. Yeah, and so that's kind of things you happen. You deal with people that are looking at, "Well, why are you here?" God. I don't, because I love sports. And here's the deal. I'm doing it as
was it Adam Hill? No, it wasn't. Okay, yeah, I can name a few other names. That was just a cheap shot there. But anyway, well, I'm sorry that happened to you. You don't deserve that. You're very good.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. But you take it with stride and you move on and you show them why you are there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But you know what? The longer you're in this business and keep working hard and keep doing what you're doing, trust me, you'll get respect pretty fast.
I appreciate it.
You have that from me already. Let me tell you, because
Thank you.
I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I've had some guests in here that had absolutely no idea what they were talking about and they couldn't put a sentence together. So
we've had those too.
Yes, he gets it all the time. Anyway, glad you're here. I want to talk on the local scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's start with UNLV, and we'll get to the Vegas Golden Knights, who, by the way, the puck just dropping now in Game 2. But let's start with UNLV. First of all, what were your thoughts on the TJ Otzelberger hire, and what are your thoughts on the Marvin Menzies era?
So growing up, I obviously was a huge basketball NBA fan, and I was always I'm a Husky alumni, go Washington. And so but other than that, I was never a huge college basketball fan. So honest to God, for me, I didn't quite know who that was. I wasn't familiar with TJ at all until I read up on him after the announcement. I'm impartial because honestly, I wasn't a fan of what Menzie was doing with the team.
Neither was I.
And I wasn't a fan as to what's happening, in general with UNLV's basketball and the program itself. And I went to a few games this year, and I'm just disappointed in the turnout. I'm disappointed in the community not supporting a team that should be doing better.
And I think a good part of that is Marvin Menzies. I don't think he reached out enough, and I'm going to give TJ Otzelberger credit. First of all, for signing Kevin Kruger as his assistant coach. Because, first of all, I know Kevin personally. Lon and Kevin, that whole family, they are just so wonderful, those people. And what a great coach Lon is and was here at UNLV. Kevin is he was a smart player, and I know he's going to do a good job here. So it's great bringing somebody like Kevin on the staff.
Well, they made that announcement today with the coaching staff.
Yeah. I'm not very familiar with the two other guys, but obviously I know Kevin personally. I thought that was great. That's number one. Number two, I've seen on social media that he's been talking and reaching out to former players. He was hanging out with Larry Johnson the other day. I think that's huge.
Grandmama.
Yeah. Lon Kruger did such a great job at reaching out to former players. Dave Rice I'll give him maybe a B-. He did a decent job. because he was a former player. I thought I'll give Marvin Menzies an F. He just did a terrible job with the community. He did a terrible job reaching out to former players. That's certainly part of the reason why fans didn't show up. The other reason is because they just didn't win. It was a bad product.
Right.
So I'm going to give TJ Otzelberger credit where credit is due. The fact that he's got a couple of these guys that are staying, a couple of these players like Amari Hardy that are staying. The fact that he hired Kevin Kruger, I think he's going about it the right way, and he's off to a very, very good start. And I think we all need to support him. We all need to give him a chance. But with that being said, he's the highest paid coach now in the Mountain West Conference. There is no rebuilding. There is no, well, we're going to get better. Let's give him several years. No, he needs to win year one. And I'm not saying you have to make the NCAA tournament year one, but you better compete for a Mountain West Conference championship. Maybe sneak into the NIT. I think that would be a good look and a good first year. He's got to do that.
Well, and that depends on the players if they're going to be staying or going. We've got a couple guys that were already on the transfer list. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, Natombe is probably going to be leaving. If he stays, that would be a huge win for UNLV. I've heard that there's no chance that Shakur Justin is going to be staying. That's not TJ Otzelberger's fault.
It's not.
You can only give him credit for the fact that Amari Hardy and Hamilton, a couple of these guys are staying, but he's got to have to recruit his ass off. He just has to.
And whether it was his decision or whose decision it was to hire some of these guys on was a great because, like you said, the Kruger, he was part of UNLV's running rebel team back in 2007.
Sweet 16.
Yeah, and there's also so DeMauro Slocum is the guy that actually is from Las Vegas. He played at El Dorado High School.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's another the thing is, the people here will support locals. People in Vegas, they love supporting local stuff. So that's one thing on his back is that he's able to now hopefully bring in some more local fans that maybe grew up with Slocum or maybe, played ball with him at AAU style or, grew up wherever, and they'll go to support him. That at least brings some more fans in there than usual.
I mean, the reason why I thought it would have been better if they hired like a Mike Miller or Larry Stacy or Eric Musselman, because I think that would have gotten more people in the seats right away. But the bottom line is if the guy wins,
if he wins,
people are going to show up, right? People are going to show up. I'll give out the number. What do you guys think? 257-5396, the number to call. Again, that number if you want to be a part of the show. 257-5396. Talking a little UNLV hoops. We will get to the Vegas Golden Knights here in a couple minutes. Game 2 against the San Jose Sharks. They're down a game, so this is a very important game for them. You win game 2, then you're coming home on Sunday, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You're down 2-0. Make no mistake about it. The Knights have to win game 3. That's a must-win situation.
Yes.
You're not going to come back against the San Jose Sharks without having home ice. You're not going to come back down 3-0 and win the series. 257-5396. I'm sorry?
We're up.
The Knights scored already?
Scored, yeah.
Wow, how about that? And it's got to be a couple minutes into the game.
It's 16 minutes right now.
Yeah, 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Scott. Scott, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Good. If you guys were the co-head coaches at UNLV and you had an appointment tomorrow with the number 1 recruit in the nation and you had to sell me on coming to UNLV, what would your top 3 things you would tell me to get me to go to UNLV?
That is Scott, that's a really good question. Okay, here's the way I would, first of all, my style of play. TJ Otzelberger gives people a lot of freedom on the offensive end. So to most college, most 17, 18-year-old kids, let's be honest, a lot of them are selfish. They want to score. If you're in TJ Otzelberger's offense and you have talent, you're probably going to be able to score and you're going to like his offense. So that would be number 1. Number 2.
I can shoot. I can come in firing. That's number 1, right?
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, Scott, but a lot of kids like that.
I like it. All right, that's 1.
That's number 1.
2 more.
Number 2, these kids aren't 21, so you can't tell them to do illegal things. But what you can tell them is Vegas is a really exciting place to live. It is the entertainment capital of the world. You're in an arena at the Thomas and Mack Center where there's a ton of history, where UNLV won a national championship back in the day. I would show them some video clips of Grandmama, Larry Johnson, and the national championship that they won. There's history at UNLV. So that's number 2. It's a great place to live.
You've got to say something. I need the number 3 from the young lady who's on with you.
Please.
Hi, Mellissa, thank you.
I'm sorry. As usual, I steal the microphone.
Well, my number 3 would have been kind of piggybacking on that, and more so that Las Vegas is now becoming this huge mecca for sports. So not only we see how people like Asia Wilson or Tommy from this Lights goalie, they're being able to be promoted on other avenues. So you see Asia for Raiders stuff, you see her for the Light stuff. So our community of sports is coming together to where this kid could be coming to UNLV, but he could be at a Raiders game sitting at 50-yard line and be promoted through there. I think just the fact that you're in a city that now is blossoming in sports, you want to be part of that. How could you not?
I would also say that there's a guy that does a radio show. His name's Brian Shapiro, and he lives in Las Vegas. Vegas, so it's a great city to live in because you can listen to Brian every night. Do you have anything else, Melissa? Because I named two, you named one.
I mean, no.
No?
The only thing is, guys, wait, that was good. Okay, where do I sign? But
Tommy, where's yours? What's yours?
Well, no, when you're a college student, you're broke, right? I mean, it's $150 to go to a Knights game. It's $500 to go to a Raiders game. No college students are going to those games. I mean, it is a good sales pitch.
No, they're not having. They're not going. You think they pay for those tickets? Hell no.
Or maybe you could pull a Marvin Menzies and maybe allegedly offer him $100,000. That might work.
Listen, as one of the athletes and one in the program, you're going to be getting those tickets for free.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Yeah,
but that's illegal though, Mellissa. That's not legal.
That's true, Scott. But let me bring it to you this way, okay? There is no excuse why UNLV can't get the best players in the Mountain West Conference. Okay, Las Vegas, there is no argument here. It should be and is the easiest place to recruit in the Mountain West Conference. It should not be a hard sell. Okay, we're not in Boise. We're not in Wyoming. Okay, this is Las Vegas. This is UNLV basketball. We have the history. It's a fun place to live. It's why the conference tournament is here. It's why it's one of the fastest growing sports markets in the world. Because this is Las Vegas. So there was no excuse why Marvin Menzies couldn't recruit here. And there was no excuse.
I always say, I agree, and not just to agree. Like, if you're at Utah State and what that guy did, have you guys ever been to where Utah State is? I mean, it's an hour and 20 minutes outside of Salt Lake City. Yeah. There's nothing there. And to win there is pretty darn impressive.
I'll tell you what, that guy, Smith, did a fantastic job. But keep in mind, though, he had senior leadership and upperclassmen leadership. But you're right. He did a fantastic job. And it's also why he got the Coach of the Year, Scott. So, I mean, he did a great job. You're right. But I don't think it should be a hard sell. Now, if you live in Wyoming and you're trying to recruit there, you could say, well, we got cow tipping and you can go hunting every day. I really don't know how I could sell a kid to go to Wyoming. I cannot believe that Larry Nance Jr. went to Wyoming. It's incredible. But I hope we answered your question, Scott.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you very much. 257-5396 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the show. Again, that number, 257-5396. We do need to get to the Vegas Golden Knights. I wanted to get to that. Not the same team as last year. Obviously, James Neal, Perron, I think those were two big losses when they lost those guys. But obviously, picking up a guy like Stone was a huge pickup as well. Fleury is not getting any younger, but he's still an unbelievable goaltender.
Still saving.
He'll always give you a chance. So if the Knights can find a way to win tonight, and they're up 2-0 6 minutes into the game, and they just scored again, Johnny just said. 3-0 Vegas Golden Knights. And what are we, Johnny, 6 minutes or 7 minutes into the game?
Yeah.
Boy,
13 minutes left.
I'll tell you, I wish I had the over. Jeez.
Man.
3 goals in 6 minutes. How about that? What a start by the Vegas Golden Knights. God, that was the play tonight, too, from a gambling breath. Knights, I don't want to say backs against the wall, but when you're down 1-0 and you play as lousy as they played, you kind of had the sense, and we had Brian Salmon from Channel 3 on yesterday, and he does a great job covering the Knights. He kind of alluded to this, that, look, we're going to see a much better performance from this team. They were terrible in game 1.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
No offense.
And it's kind of like the crisscross method in the playoffs. I use it in the NBA, and usually I use it in the NHL. I just didn't know what type of Vegas Golden Knight team we were going to see. 3-0 on the road. You want to talk about an enormous let's hope they win. But
they got to play full 3 periods, let's be honest. You can't just come out firing and then,
No question, but right now you'd probably put San Jose at 20-1 to win this game, but how big is game 3? I mean, Game 3 in Vegas on Sunday is going to be huge. I believe that this series, and I said this at the beginning, that this series was going to go 7 games, and I still feel that way. I think this is a 7-game series, and I think, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, last night I was commenting about it on the podcast, and I had mentioned I couldn't even pick as to what I thought for the series was going to be until I saw today's game, and just from the start, I know it's going to go for 6 or 7 now.
Man, 3-0 though. I mean,
the first goal Eakin had with 58 seconds.
I got to support Cody Eakin because he's a redhead like myself, so I have to
go for the Gingers.
Who scored the second goal?
Miller.
So Colin Miller scored?
Yes.
Holy schmagoli. So
4 minutes and 37 seconds, and then Pacioretty scored at 6 minutes and 11.
This is a huge story. Here's why.
Okay. Breaking.
Well, Turk did not play Colin Miller in Game 1. Really? And he was a healthy scratch. And when asked about it, he said it was a coach's decision. For whatever reason, Turk decided not to play Colin Miller, and I questioned that. And now he plays him, and he scores 5 minutes into the game. So you want to talk about?
Well, they're changing up that offense for sure.
Yeah, I don't think Colin Miller's going to be sitting out in Game 3. I'm glad that Turk played him. but you could not ask for a better start. On the road, scoring 3 goals 6 minutes into the game. Are you kidding me? In the playoffs?
You can't beat that.
That goalie might be pulled if they score. If they score another goal, I bet you they probably pull the goal. That's unbelievable. But look, Turk's a fantastic coach. How often do you see the Vegas Golden Knights, including the playoffs last year? I know in the Stanley Cup Finals they had some issues with Washington. They were the better team, but rarely do you see the Vegas Golden Knights play 2 really poor games in a row. Turk is a fantastic coach, and let's hope they hang on. Obviously, you have a 3-goal lead. That's a huge cushion to have in the playoffs, but I just thought they completely got outplayed in Game 1 physically. I just thought they lost all the physical battles, and they just weren't crisp.
Well, there was a lot of actual physical battles in that game too. I mean, those guys are going. This is our rival, basically. The Sharks are our rival, and they're going head to head. And there was a lot of fist fights out there.
Yeah,
not just beyond pucks hitting you and you losing a couple teeth. You got to worry about other people's hands hitting you and you losing a couple teeth.
How crazy is that, by the way? When a guy in San Jose scoring a goal off his teeth, and then interviewed after the game, he was interviewed missing a couple.
He
teeth.
was still bleeding on ice.
It's so crazy. Hockey's a brutal sport, man, but it is so much fun to watch. I grew up a Hartford Whalers season ticket holder back in the day in Connecticut with my dad, and really, really happy that they got off to such a great start.
It looks like we just missed a fight, too. It looks between Mark Stone and Timo Meier. They both got 2 minutes for roughing.
Stone is a tough dude, man. He's
big. He's a big guy.
That is not a guy that you want to mess with.
Here's the deal. Yeah. These guys, when you think about it, I mean, you think about some basketball players, you think about baseball players, they're like average size, maybe whatever. But these hockey players are on ice skates, on ice with about how much do you think padding weighs? I mean,
I don't know.
And to do what they're doing is just amazing.
It really is.
I was never a huge hockey fan. I think everybody in Vegas can say I was never a huge hockey fan until Vegas Golden Knights.
I was the first 21 years of my life when I lived in Connecticut because we had a team, right? Or I shouldn't say the first 21 years, the first 16 years. And then they left and they were the Carolina Hurricanes. And then several years later, they won the Stanley Cup. So I was pissed. But, hockey to me, there's nothing better when you're sitting behind the glass.
That's what I want
for an NHL hockey game.
Bucket list.
You're a foot away from these guys just destroying each other, and they're such great athletes and they're so fantastic. So
they're allowed to do it. That's what's so amazing. Like you're basically like, yeah, go fight. I don't care.
NHL hockey in the playoffs.
I love it.
To me, like I said, there's absolutely nothing better. It's so much fun to watch. I'm glad that the Vegas Golden Knights got off to you couldn't ask for a better start. Are you kidding me? 3-0.
Not even halfway through the first period.
Yeah, that's incredible. So 3-0, the Vegas Golden Knights leading the San Jose Sharks. Again, this is Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm not going to call this game a must-win for the Vegas Golden Knights, but certainly it was a huge game because you go in on the road in any 7-game series. You're talking about the NBA, NHL, anything. Yeah. Your goal should be, of course you want to win both games, but your goal should be, let's try to split. You want to go home 1-1.
You'd like to take one.
Yeah, you're feeling good about yourself. Now the Knights, hopefully, I don't want to jinx them, but hopefully if they can win this game, and it certainly looks like they're off to a great start, looks like they're going to, you get back here on Sunday, you're feeling really good about yourself on the trip home. Yeah, we got this win. We got back to, Vegas hockey.
Get back in front of our guys.
Yeah, exactly. And now the focus is back, and look. T-Mobile's a tough place to play.
There's no place like T-Mobile. I mean, granted, I haven't been to a whole lot of hockey games, but I went to the Blackhawks game before in Chicago. They have great fans as well there. But the fans here are amazing.
They really are.
It's loud all the time. It's like a playoff game there every game.
Yeah, they really are. I agree. So we only got about 30 seconds here left to go. So before we go, Mellissa, Ferris, give out the information. How can people find your podcast and find you on social media?
Yeah, please find us at Girl Chat Sports, all one word, on all social media. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Podomatic, Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Girl Across Radio. That's where we record our podcast every Wednesday live, 6 to 7 p.m.
Well, Mellissa, thank you so much for coming on. I hope we can do it again sometime.
Thank you so much.
The 2 hours goes by fast. We got the crew coming up next. Ken Thompson and the crew. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on the Vegas Take. We'll catch you Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.